going to take you through some of the changes I've made since the first setup that we had. It worked pretty good, but like everything, you can use it a few times and then you can see opportunity to improve some of the things to make it easier. They're very much personal changes. They're not sort of recommended that you have to do this or whatever. It just kind of works for me. So what I'm going to do is take you around and show you some of the changes I've made to my setup just to make it a little bit easier to use when we're out and about. So a couple of things: I want to be able to put it up quickly, and I want to be able to do it easily. I don't want to have to fight my way through things to get to the other things that I need to put up. So that led us to moving things around a little bit, a few more compartments, adjusting the drawers, raising the height of the tent on a rack. It was too low before. It looked good, it was streamlined, but it wasn't super practical. So I'll take you around and just show some of the changes. So one of the areas I changed at the back was my slide out drawer. So with the fridge slides in and out, and there's another drawer that's behind that. And the problem I had is I didn't have a lot of room between here and the tent, and to try and get in through the sides was really difficult. So I got one of these low mount racks. I had a look at quite a few of the ones on the market, and the Ridge Rider appealed to me. It didn't look like a Meccano set and full of holes and big cutout labels all over it. I wanted something a little bit more subtle, and it's got lots of bracing plates on the inside, so it's fairly strong, and it lifts the tent above the roller shutter by about 200 mil, and that's enough just for me to stick my hands and my head in to look down at the side pockets and things like that, which I'll show you in a sec. But what I did with this slide out drawer, I've got a pole that sits under that and braces it. I think I've got that round the other side. But I filled it with these, and the nice thing about these, I just got them at Bunnings, and I don't have to open them up. I can just turn them around and look at them and go, okay, that's all the cups for the hot drinks and so on. Here's my little gas cookers and insect repellent burners and all that sort of stuff. I can easily see it. Oh yeah, and this is a cleaning one. And then I've also got space in here which I can utilize, and so it's worked out really good. I'm not rummaging through things and looking for them. I can see them. I've put the items that I use in different containers and grouped them together, and I even have an app on my iPhone that says checklist and what's in that container, and so I can look at that before I go away, and I can make sure all that gear's in there. And if I forget where I put it, I just go to the app and go, where's my fishing pliers? Oh yeah, they're in container number 3. So yeah, quite handy, and this thing just slides in and out easy. This is really solid when you put the pole underneath it. And it locks in, which is nice. So it's on a fridge slide, and I just built this with marine ply from Bunnings. I needed something that wasn't someone else's idea, that kind of almost did what I wanted it to do. So for me, this works. It would be nice to see something like this in aluminium and done with professional fabrication, but you know what, works for me, and it gets all my stuff where I want it and easy to find. So the other thing I did is I put everything electronic in this box. So I've got the dual battery, lithium battery at the front with some power switches and so on, and in here I have an inverter, and I have my twin ARB pump, and it all sits in this one solid box that can be bolted in and out quite easily if I need to get to it. So I can just lift the lids off it. So if I need to get to anything electronically, again, it's easy to stick my head in here and have a look. All my Anderson plugs. And then here, this is my compartment for my inflating my tires, my guy ropes, and and things like that. And again, the reason why I wanted to raise the tent is I could just simply go in here and grab things, and it made it so much easier. With the tent down here, it was almost impossible. I was skinning my knuckles and things like that. I don't know if you can see it from there, but here my table goes in here. It just slides in and it locks up to the bottom of the tent, and that way I'm not taking up tub space with my table. My chairs, they go inside this little concave area here, and again they just strap up, and it doesn't matter if they get wet. They're hanging under here and not taking up space in my tub, and that's what I wanted. So again, this is really easy. You just lower these, table slides out, and away you go. So slowly making it easier to use and a lot more practical. So one of the other things I mentioned when I did the first have a look at the DMAX video was I didn't know whether I was happy with the 180 bushwhacker awning or not. It kind of looked okay, but in my way of thinking it looks over functionality. If you remember, I said that the other square one I had would sort of come out to here and it would offer a lot more shade, but I persevered with this and I've gotten to a point where it works a lot better for me. I put poles in between the mainstays just to give it a bit more rigid appearance, and also to be able to hang a wall on, which makes it a lot easier to use when I'm putting the walls up. I had a look at some of the walls that you buy, and they want your firstborn child for them, and they're not, to me, they're asking a lot of money for something pretty simple. So I went out and bought a standard canvas wall, and I had my better half sew some Velcro into the top, and we had it cut. I don't have it up today, but it deploys easily, and you can pull these poles out on that angle here to follow that, and you can put that windbreak in and just put clips on it against the pole, and it works fantastic, and it's like 60 bucks, you know. These see-through things here, I bought these at one of the camping stores, and they just Velcro onto the Velcro that already exists, and because they're mesh, they actually block the wind, but they let a little bit of that wind come through, and they block the light. So on a really nice super sunny day with a bit of breeze, these are fantastic, and they're easy to deploy because they've got the Velcro tabs on them, and they just go straight onto the bushwhacker. What I do want to do is remove those tabs, and we're going to sew in a proper 2-inch strip of Velcro so it matches up with that perfectly. And that'll be that, and that'll be like, you know, I think they were 60 bucks. So absolutely fantastic, and because they're mesh, they clean really easy. So to me, that was a really good, simple, easy upgrade, and very easy to carry this stuff. So you end up with a nice canopy, shade, wind protection, poles in there to make it rigid. And where do the poles go? When I roll it up, the poles just go in the roll up, so I don't have to have anything extra to carry any extra gear, and it all fits away really nicely. So one of the things that's really important when you've got a rooftop tent is to be able to sleep level, and you could only be 2 or 3 degrees off, and during the night you're slowly leaning to one side, or your head's too low, or something like that, and it just makes for a really miserable sleep. You wake up in the morning, you're really tired, and you think, oh, you know, the reality of sleeping in there wasn't as good as the idea of it. But you can fix that, and the way to fix it is to make sure that your car is dead level. So what I've done now with the DMAX to make that a lot easier, I carry my Max Tracks. As you can see, they're really good to just drive onto at one side, and then I've got a high lift jack stand I can drive on at the other side, or whatever corner I want to put them in. But the best part of my setup is I've got airbags, and so I can pump up one side of the car or the whole back end of the car, or lower it, and I can make that really work for leveling. So I can get it down to a fine art, and just having those airbags in there, I put them in for towing the boat, but I didn't realise how effective they were going to be in terms of levelling the car. and they do a great job. So we had a fantastic night's sleep. It's a bit cold and chilly and windy today. You can probably hear the wind noise, but on a level playing field, and it's a really good sleep. So that would be a tip I would say, that if you've got a rooftop tent or any tent setting up, unless it's dead level, you're going to really struggle to sleep. And the older you get, the harder that becomes. So airbags, max tracks. In extreme situations, I've driven onto rocks or wood or whatever the case may be, but I don't have room to carry those leveling steps and things like that. So I want to be able to use the gear that I have with me, or rocks, or even a bit of wood on with the natural surroundings. So leveling the tent, that was our solution. Airbags make a huge difference.
So there's probably quite a few more things I could put into this video. They're basically little things, but they make using the DMAX in its current form so much better. I think I pretty much maximized what I can do with a utility with a tub on the back, and to make it any better and more functional, I'd probably have to go to some sort of tray with a pod, which is something I don't want to do right now. So I'm going to keep pushing this setup to the limit to see if I can get the type of satisfaction out of it that I hope that I will get. And so far, so good.